Good Monday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new week, and I hope you guys are having a great start to your week. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up today. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, being part of my conversation with ophthalmologist Dr. Rolando Toyos, talking about what is dry eye disease and ways to treat it. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Monday headlines. In international news, vaccine inequity inside the cutthroat race to secure doses. No one disputes that the world is unfair, but no one expected a vaccine gap between the global rich and poor that was this bad this far into the pandemic. Inequity is everywhere, says the Associated Press. Inoculations go begging in the United States, while Haiti, a short plane ride away, received its first delivery July 15th after months of promises, 500,000 doses for a population over 11 million. Canada has procured more than 10 doses for every resident. Sierra Leone's vaccination rate just cracked 1% on June the 20th. It's like a famine in which the richest guys grab the baker, said an African Union envoy for vaccine acquisition. In fact, European and American officials deeply involved in bankrolling and distributing the vaccines against coronavirus have told the Associated Press there was no thought of how to handle the situation globally. Instead, they jostled for their own domestic use. But there are more reasons why vaccines have and have not reached the have and have-nots. COVID-19 unexpectedly devastated wealthy countries first, and some of them were among the few places that make the vaccines. Export restrictions kept the doses within their borders. There was a global purchase plan to provide vaccines for poorer countries, but it was so flawed and underfunded that it couldn't compete in a cutthroat competition to buy, says the Associated Press. Intellectual property rights vied with global public health for priority. Rich countries expanded vaccinations to younger and younger people, ignored the repeated pleas of health officials to donate their doses instead, and debated booster shots even as poor countries couldn't vaccinate the most susceptible. The disparity was in some ways inevitable. Wealthy nations expected a return on their investment of taxpayer money, but the scale of the inequity, the stockpiling of unused vaccines, the lack of a viable global plan to solve a global problem has shocked health officials, though it wasn't the first time. In national news, with pandemic worsening in the United States, the Surgeon General is worried. The U.S. Surgeon General said Sunday that he's concerned about what lies ahead, with cases of COVID-19 increasing in every state, millions still unvaccinated, and a highly contagious virus variant spreading rapidly. Noting that nearly all coronavirus deaths now are among the tens of millions of people who haven't received shots. Despite widespread vaccination availability, Dr. Murray painted an unsettling picture of what the future could hold. I am worried about what is to come because we are seeing increasing cases among the unvaccinated in particular, and while if you are vaccinated, you are very well protected against hospitalization and death, unfortunately, that is not true if you are not vaccinated, Murphy said on CNN's State of the Union. U.S. cases of COVID-19 last week increased by 17,000 nationwide over a 14-day period for the first time since late fall, and an increase in deaths historically follows a spike in illness. In more national news, Senator says bipartisan infrastructure bill loses IRS provision. A proposal to strengthen IRS enforcement and help fund a nearly $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure spending bill is officially off the table, Republican Senator Rob Portman said on Sunday. Portman, who is involved in negotiating the bill, cited pushback from fellow Republican lawmakers who disliked the idea of expanding the reach of the IRS, which they have accused over the years of unfairly targeting conservatives. Portman's announcement that the IRS provision had been removed underscores the difficulty facing the bipartisan group of Republican and Democratic senators in finding mutually agreement ways to pay for billions of dollars of new spending their White House-backed plan calls for. In business news, as stock prices peak, markets begin to fear looming threats. With the U.S. economy humming, corporate profits flowing, and stock prices peaking, investors on Wall Street are beginning to pose an anxious question, is it all downhill from here? Financial markets are always trying to set prices now for where the economy and corporate profits are likely to be in the future. And even though readings across the economy are still at eye-popping levels, investors see some areas of concern. And finally, in entertainment news, Space Jam dunks on Black Widow to take box office number 1. Black Widow ceded its number 1 spot to an unlikely foe in its second week in theaters, the Toon Squad. LeBron James, Bugs Bunny, and the rest of the stars of Warner Bros. Space Jam: A New Legacy defied expectations and won the box office this weekend. According to studio estimates on Sunday, Space Jam: A New Legacy grossed $31.7 million in North America, while Black Widow took in $26 million over the weekend. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Communicate honestly. When you honestly communicate your feelings to others, it leads to a greater sense of shared trust. This also promotes affection with loved ones, as all of us like to hear verbally how much we are loved and appreciated. It can be difficult to say what is in your heart, yet when you do, you are opening your relationship to a roadmap for success. You are sharing the purest and most tender part of yourself. All people, in truth, are bound by love. This bond is something that is unlimited and unconditional. When you express these loving or kind feelings with yourself, others, or business clients, you deepen this relationship. This paves the way for your honest and truthful form of communication. Today, make your communication and expressions of love clear and meaningful, and make sure you listen to the other person. Go about to enjoy the day.
Dr. Rolando Toyos is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Entertainment Spotlight. Dr. Rolando Toyos joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about what is dry eye disease and what can be done to treat it. Here's a bit of our conversation. What exactly is dry eye disease?
So we constantly produce tears to lubricate the front surface of our eyes so that we can see clearly and feel comfortable. And what dry eye disease is, it's an inflammatory disease that affects those glands that produce our normal tear. Once that happens, you're not producing your normal tear and you get this inflamed tear, abnormal tear on your eye that can cause problems and cause symptoms that patients complain about, like blurry vision, redness, irritation, scratchiness. For me, I'm a dry eye sufferer myself. After a long day of looking under the microscope to do eye surgery, my eyes get really tired. That's like my symptoms. So we have a varied amount of symptoms. Now, allergy patients have similar symptoms of irritation, itchiness, and so most people think that their dry eye is allergy, and then we have a lot of patients that have allergy and dry eye. And how most patients go about trying to take care of this is they'll just go to the pharmacy and either take an allergy pill, or they'll take an allergy drop, or they'll use some artificial tears. Now, artificial tears will lubricate the eye and temporarily make the eye feel a little bit better, but since it's an inflammatory process, that doesn't take care of the problem completely, and then their mild dry eye turns into a more moderate problem that the artificial tears can't handle. So the best thing to do is just go to your doctor and see if this is the problem for your irritated dry eyes, and what they'll do is there's 4 medications that they can prescribe that will help the inflammation and take care of the problem.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make today amazing. Take care.